The moment I realized that everything I'd built was collapsing, I stood transfixed in the flickering neon of the deserted parking lot, a silent witness to my life unraveling before my eyes. I had just received an anonymous email with subject line, "Final Notice," and an attachment that spelled out the bankruptcy of my company, a company I had poured my soul into for years. My hands shook as I read through the cold, unfeeling words, and a chill ran down my spine. But the most shocking twist came later that night when, amidst my anguish, I discovered that the mastermind behind my financial ruin was none other than my own mother-in-law, and that I had been secretly owning her company all along. I wasn't always the business owner I am today. In fact, my journey began with a dream forged in the quiet corners of a tiny garage in suburban New Jersey. Back then, I was a scrappy young woman with nothing but an unwavering determination to turn my passion for technology into something tangible, a startup that could revolutionize how small businesses manage their data. Every sleepless night, every sacrifice of social gatherings, every dollar saved was invested in that dream. I named the company Nexitech, a beacon of hope amid economic uncertainty. Slowly, Nexitech began to flourish. We landed our first clients, grew our portfolio, and my optimism soared as we navigated the unpredictable waves of entrepreneurship. It was during the early, exhilarating days of Nexitech that I married Mark. Mark was charming, supportive, and deeply ambitious, qualities that complemented my own, yet also clashed with them at times. Our families merged, and I soon found myself entwined not only in our shared business dreams but also in the complex dynamics of extended family life. Mark's mother, Gloria, was a formidable woman. With her perfectly coiffed hair and an air of regality, she ruled her world with an iron fist hidden beneath layers of polished civility. I admired her success in running a well-established event planning company, Glorious Events, which had long been the cornerstone of her social circle. I never imagined that the two of us, Gloria and I, would one day become bitter adversaries. For years, Gloria had made it abundantly clear that she expected perfection from everyone around her, including me. Her sharp comments at family gatherings, the subtle undermining of my decisions, and her constant reminders that I was not good enough often left me feeling isolated and insecure. Despite her disdain, I tried to build a cordial relationship with her. I even assisted her occasionally with her company's events, always hoping that in time she would come to see me as more than just an outsider. I invested my limited savings on the advice of a trusted mentor, in a quiet side project. A modest investment in a portfolio of shares that, unbeknownst to anyone in our family, had given me a controlling stake in Glorious Events. I had made this decision silently, driven by a desire for financial security and a secret ambition to prove that I was capable of more than Gloria ever credited me for. Then came the day that changed everything. I was working in my small, cluttered office at Nexitech, reviewing quarterly reports and dreaming of future expansions when I received the email. Its subject line was terse and final. Final notice, bankruptcy filing? With a sinking heart, I opened the attachment, and what I read made my blood run cold. A series of financial maneuvers, unauthorized withdrawals, and disastrous investments had culminated in a declaration of bankruptcy for Nexitech. Every painstaking effort I had poured into my company, every sacrifice, every late night, was now reduced to numbers on a screen flashing warnings of insolvency. I felt betrayed not just by the market's fickleness, but by someone I had once trusted implicitly. In the following hours, I frantically scoured through our records, trying to pinpoint the source of the financial hemorrhage. It wasn't long before a pattern emerged, a series of mysterious transactions that I hadn't authorized. My pulse quickened as I traced these irregularities to one singular source, Gloria. My mother-in-law had been orchestrating a scheme to siphon funds from our joint business dealings with her company. The realization struck me like a thunderbolt. I realized that Gloria, the woman who had always sneered at my every move, had secretly ruined my business in an elaborate plot to bankrupt me. The motive was murky, but one thing was clear: she had manipulated our intertwined financial interests to serve her own ambitions. Anger and disbelief warred within me. I couldn't fathom that the person I had once hoped to earn respect from could be so ruthless. Determined to uncover the full truth, I began a painstaking investigation. I revisited every invoice, every bank statement, and every email correspondence between Nexitech and Glorious Events. I discovered that over the past 2 years, Gloria had been funneling money from our joint accounts into offshore transfers. The funds, it appeared, were used to finance her own lavish projects and to cover debts that I had never even known existed. My hands trembled as I compiled the evidence, a digital dossier that laid bare the cold, calculated betrayal. Yet, as I confronted this harrowing reality, a deeper truth began to emerge, a twist that was almost too ironic to believe. Late one night, as I was poring over the financial records with a trusted accountant, I noticed something unusual. Among the documents was a contract dated back to 5 years ago, a contract that clearly stated I had acquired a controlling stake in Glorious Events. I reread the contract, my eyes widening in disbelief. I had never mentioned this investment to anyone. It had been my secret insurance policy, a quiet rebellion against the financial tyranny that Gloria had always imposed. I was, in fact, the secret owner of her company. The revelation sent my mind reeling. Here I was, on the brink of losing everything I'd built with Nexitech, only to discover that I held the key to my own salvation. Gloria, in her relentless pursuit of control and recognition, had unwittingly empowered me with a tool she never knew existed. I realized that if I could expose her scheme and leverage my newfound stake in Glorious Events, I could not only salvage my business but also turn the tables on her in the most spectacular way possible. I spent the next few days in a whirlwind of strategic planning and quiet determination. I contacted my attorney, Ms. Richards, and shared every piece of evidence I had gathered. "This is not just about bankrupting your company," she said gravely. "It's about exposing a betrayal that goes deep into the heart of family and business. We can use your ownership of Glorious Events as leverage to reclaim what is rightfully yours." Ms. Richards and I devised a plan that would expose Gloria's misdeeds in a manner that would leave her utterly speechless. I knew I had to be careful. The situation was as much about family honor as it was about financial ruin. I drafted a series of legal notices and began to prepare a public statement that would reveal the truth behind the bankruptcy filing. At the same time, I reached out to trusted media contacts, journalists who specialized in business and family scandals, to share my side of the story. I wanted the world to know that I had been betrayed, not just by a cold, calculating businesswoman, but by my own mother-in-law, who had manipulated our family's finances for her own gain. The day of the press conference arrived like a scene from a courtroom drama. I stood at the podium in a modest conference room at our new office, the room filled with reporters, flashing cameras, and the murmur of anticipation. My hands trembled slightly, but my voice was steady as I began. "Today I stand before you not as a victim of financial misfortune, but as a survivor of betrayal, a betrayal that was orchestrated by someone I once called family." I recounted the series of unauthorized transactions, the evidence of money being siphoned off into offshore accounts, and, most shockingly, the discovery that I was the hidden owner of Glorious Events. Every word was met with a mix of gasps and scribbles of notepads. I have spent years building my company, nurturing it with every ounce of passion I possess. And while my mother-in-law attempted to ruin my dreams, she inadvertently handed me the key to reclaiming my future. The fallout from the press conference was immediate and explosive. Within hours, business news outlets, local newspapers, and online blogs were abuzz with the scandal. Gloria's carefully cultivated image began to crumble under the weight of public scrutiny. In a dramatic turn of events, the board of Glorious Events, now aware of my controlling stake and the extent of the financial manipulations, voted unanimously to remove Gloria from her position as CEO. Her secret plot to bankrupt me had backfired in the most spectacular way. I had not only saved my company, but I had also dismantled the empire that she had built on deceit and manipulation. In the days that followed, I received messages of support from across the business community. Entrepreneurs and industry leaders praised my resilience and commended me for standing up against corruption, even when it came from within my own family. My story became a symbol of empowerment, a reminder that even when those you trust betray you, you have the strength to rise, reclaim your destiny, and transform your pain into triumph. At home, the atmosphere within our family was irreversibly altered. My husband, Mark, stood by my side, his eyes reflecting a mix of pride and regret over the choices that had once led to such chaos. Our relationship, once strained by the fallout of Gloria's schemes, began to heal as we worked together to rebuild our shared future. Family members who had once sided with Gloria now sought reconciliation, their apologies tentative and filled with remorse. I accepted them with cautious grace, knowing that true forgiveness is a slow, delicate process that must be earned through genuine change. The legal battles that ensued were long and grueling. Gloria fought back with every resource at her disposal, launching counterclaims and attempting to discredit the evidence I had so meticulously gathered. But with the support of Ms. Richards and the overwhelming public outcry in my favor, her defenses crumbled. In one particularly dramatic hearing, the judge declared, "The evidence clearly demonstrates not only a breach of fiduciary duty but also a calculated act of betrayal against a trusted family member." The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, and the defendant is hereby removed from all managerial responsibilities. The ruling was a resounding victory, a formal acknowledgement that justice had been served. I remember leaving the courtroom that day, my steps lighter and my heart a little less burdened by the past. I had fought for every penny of what was mine, not just in financial terms, but in the form of dignity and respect. That day, as I drove away in the crisp afternoon air, I felt the weight of years of betrayal lift, replaced by the exhilarating promise of a future built on honesty and self-determination. In the months that followed, I continued to rebuild and expand my business. I merged Nexitech with a partner company, harnessing new technologies to create innovative solutions for small businesses, a move that catapulted our revenue to unprecedented heights. I used the platform I had gained to mentor young entrepreneurs, sharing the lessons I had learned from my own tumultuous journey. Every success was a tribute to the power of resilience, a living testament to the fact that even the most devastating betrayals can serve as a springboard for transformation. On a personal level, I also redefined my identity. I began to write a memoir, a raw, unfiltered account of the journey from betrayal to redemption. It was an act of catharsis, a way to process the deep wounds left by glorious schemes and the financial ruin that had threatened to end my dreams. The memoir, which I titled The Hidden Legacy, resonated with readers across the country, many of whom had faced similar betrayals within their own families. Through my words, I discovered a sense of empowerment, a belief that my story could be a source of strength and hope for others. I traveled frequently, both for business and for personal growth. Each new city, each new experience, added another layer to my identity, a mosaic of pain, triumph, and the unyielding determination to never be defined by the actions of others. I found solace in art, in music, in the quiet moments of reflection that followed a hard-fought victory. I became a frequent speaker at conferences on entrepreneurship and ethical business practices, and my journey was hailed as a prime example of how one can rise above even the most insidious forms of betrayal. There were, of course, moments when the memories of Gloria's betrayal would surge back. An offhand comment from a colleague, a familiar song on the radio, or even the sight of a particular bank statement that reminded me of the days when I was left bankrupt by those I once trusted. But each time, I reminded myself that those moments were merely chapters in a much larger story, a story that I was still writing, a story defined by my ability to overcome, to rebuild, and to redefine my future on my own terms. Looking back on the past 3 years, I see a narrative of transformation that is as profound as it is painful. My mother-in-law's covert efforts to ruin my business, an attempt to bankrupt me and assert control, had ultimately ignited a fire within me, a fire that turned betrayal into a catalyst for personal and professional growth. I had taken the most devastating act of disloyalty and turned it on its head, using it as a stepping stone to reclaim everything I had lost and to build something far greater in its place. Today, I stand as a testament to the unyielding resilience of the human spirit. I own the company that my mother-in-law once thought she could use to control and crush me. I have rebuilt my business, expanded my horizons, and created a legacy that is defined not by the actions of those who sought to harm me, but by my own determination and vision. My journey has been long and fraught with obstacles, but each setback has been met with a fierce resolve to rise, to fight, and to prove that my worth cannot be diminished by anyone, not even by family. As I continue to move forward, I carry with me the lessons of the past, that betrayal, no matter how deep, can be transformed into a source of strength, that every scar is a reminder of the battles fought and won, and that true empowerment comes from within, a quiet, unbreakable determination to forge one's own destiny. I have learned that in life, as in business, the greatest triumphs are born from the ashes of the most painful losses. My mother-in-law's secret schemes, intended to bankrupt me, instead set in motion a chain of events that led me to reclaim my power and to build a future that is as bright as it is my own. This is my story, a journey of betrayal, resilience, and ultimate redemption. It is the story of a woman who was once left in ruins by those she loved, only to rise and build an empire from the shattered fragments of her past. I now look forward to every new day with hope and determination, knowing that I am the architect of my destiny, and that no one can ever steal away the light that shines within me.